Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trail Mix, where the nuts might be a little stale, but the company is always fresh. So the biggest story today is definitely that huge US-EU trade agreement, which includes a bunch of new tariffs and some massive investments on both sides. It's a pretty big deal in terms of trade and international relations.
The European Union story, what are the critics saying about what's happening here? Is this really happening in the way that it's being described, or is this a lot of show?
Critics have quite a bit to say about this US-EU trade agreement. One big concern is that it seems to favor the US quite heavily. The EU committed to some massive investments and purchases from the US, but the US didn't offer the same level of concessions in return. There's also worry about how this might affect certain European industries like steel and automobiles, which are still facing pretty high tariffs. Some experts think the deal could even undermine EU unity in the long run. But hey, the markets seem relieved, so I guess it's a bit of a mixed bag.
Well, maybe. Jack's here. Hey, Jack.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey there, Jack. Great to have you join the conversation. How's it going? Let's hear what's on your mind today.
Hey, Brewster said hi. Did you hear that?
Yeah. Lady MawMaw, say hello to Brewster, Lady MawMaw. He's here too.
There we go.
Well, hello there, Brewster. It's a full house today. I'm loving it.
Here is what Jack put on Trail Mix for us today. This is the mathematician turned pianist.
Look at those fingers move.
Yeah. And tell me again what his story is.
Is in economics, Harvard.
Harvard economics.
Yep, and a minor in French.
And
a graduate of Juilliard School of Music. You know, a rather talented individual in a number of different. You don't graduate from Harvard by being an idiot. Well, we don't think so.
I talked to Clancy here about how he would defend Trump if Trump got accused of pardoning her in exchange for her silence. All right, Clancy, walk me through this like I was subpoenaed in my bathrobe. If the president promises to get Maxwell out of jail in exchange for her silence, that's bribery, right?
Craig, let me stop you right there because you're about to hurt yourself. Only if you can prove it with more than just a weird vibe and a suspicious grin. You need something juicy like a voicemail that says, keep your mouth shut, and I'll punch your time card out early. Otherwise, you're throwing spaghetti at a courtroom wall and hoping it spells out felony.
But if the timeline is shady, that's a cover-up, right?
Buddy, a lot of things smell. Suspicious timing ain't a crime. You ever leave chili in a Ziploc bag and forget to put it in fridge? That don't make it illegal, it just makes it questionable lunch.
So you're telling me a president can reward silence in a sex trafficking case, and because he didn't put it in a text, lie and I'll pardon you, he walks?
Yep, that pardon power is wide open, like an unsecured dumpster. Unless someone blabs, or you got a recording of the quid meeting the quo. It's all vibes and bad headlines. And vibes ain't admissible, not even in Judge Judy's court.
You're defending a guy who uses the Constitution like it's a wet nap after a felony.
And I'd defend him again if there's no evidence. Look, corruption without proof is like raccoon tracks in a flour bag. Okay, so maybe it shows I was in the kitchen. But unless you got a photo of me with the pancake in my mouth, I'm just a rumor.
Come on, Clancy, what if somebody talks? A secretary, a lawyer, maybe even his golf shoes.
Then we've got ourselves a case. Maybe even a fancy one with PowerPoints and everything. But until then, you're digging through an empty dumpster hoping to find a confession under a half-eaten Slim Jim.
So you're saying if nobody talks and it's not in writing, he just walks? He gets away with it?
Yep, like I always say, if your grandma smells gasoline on your breath, plead the fifth and blame it on backyard fireworks. This isn't about what feels bad, it's about what you can prove. If you want divine justice, call an angel. I bill by the hour.
Jamie, we're talking about whether Trump gets away with it if he pardons Maxwell in exchange for her letting him off the hook in this Epstein case.
Well, he might get away with it, but I think it would forever tarnish him with a whole lot of people, but he won't be up for re-election. So
yeah, we hope.
And I do, unless we could get the Senate, there's no way he would be impeached for it.
Yeah, there's no way he would be impeached in this world. I think we pretty much demonstrated that impeachment is a powerless control on any president now.
Well, after
I often
that,
wonder, like McConnell, I wonder if in his heart of hearts, if he has one, if he actually regrets not voting to convict Trump in the impeachment case. I mean, I don't think anything's gone well for him or the Republicans since, or at least traditional Republicans.
or if he had at least had let Obama have one appointment.
Yeah. Yeah, on the Supreme Court. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I
think he violated the Constitution in holding open the appointment that long, but
Yeah.
he did it, and it's happened, and we're stuck with it.
Well, there's no written rule. And I think that's something we're starting to notice with the Supreme Court is that, and Congress needs to understand that if you're going to create a rule, then you have to write it, get it in writing, not trust some bureaucrat to interpret it properly. And I think the other thing that with the laws Congress passed on some of this stuff is just because you pass a law doesn't mean anybody's going to obey it if there's not a penalty. And since there's no political penalty anymore on a lot of this stuff, you know, if you don't, let's say Congress appropriates money, they need to write in a penalty for not following the law.
But
Brewster has filed his dissent.
yes.
Here's Brewster, Jamie.
Oh, hello. Aren't you adorable? Yeah.
I'm so into this Epstein case for the reason that I think there is a chance that Trump could become something of a lame duck here if this case really does undermine his power and his influence over the MAGA base and Republicans. That's the only chance I see for getting a handle on some reins around his just power grab is if he loses that punch, you know, and this case has that potential. But I've been there before. I thought he was over so many times that I thought he was done when he insulted McCain, you know, in 2015. So don't take what I say to the bank.
Well, I think this thing with Ghislaine, if you add it up to what the tariffs are going to do, I mean, he's out there bragging today about getting a 15% tariff on Europe.
Yeah.
Well, he obviously doesn't understand who actually pays for the tariffs and what that is going to do to our economy.
Jamie, he doesn't care.
That's the key.
He doesn't care, but I think
he understands. He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Because he just wants to be a tough guy.
And I think the Democrats' big problem right now is they haven't figured out a way to tell the public that this is true, that he doesn't care, that, you know, that it's going to cost a whole bunch more money for you to get your kids into school this fall. Just simply because he put a 30% tariff against stuff from Vietnam, which is where half of our clothing comes from now.
Yeah, I in the last couple of times I bought my whole bean coffee at Safeway. The coffee I used to get the Safeway brand coffee for under $5. It's now almost $7. And that's just been in the last few weeks. Same thing with beef. I don't know why people aren't connecting the dots.
Well, beef is just high price of beef is just signs we're in good times.
Now, how's that?
I grew up on a cattle ranch.
Oh yeah.
In bad times, beef prices went down. In good times, people basically could afford to spend more for meat, and beef's more expensive. Oh. And the price of beef would go up. And that is just
somebody should tell Trump. Trump would like that theory. He'd say, beef's up 10%. That means times are good. I could see him buying that theory.
Well, I bought turkey today, and just simple sliced turkey for sandwiches. Yeah. And it was almost $9, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's weird to me right now. Is like you say, the sliced deli meats,
right,
are anywhere from $10 to $15 a pound or more.
Wow. That's a sliced deli meat.
But in Walmart, and I was laughing, I laughed to talk about bologna, and I started eating it when I was moving because it keep, you don't have to worry about it rotting. And so it keeps in the cooler real easy. And you slap it together with some bread and you can keep on working. And the price was over $3 back in 2022. And it's down now in Walmart to $2.50. Bologna's the only thing I know of going down in price.
And I've noticed Safeway is doing a funny thing to encourage people to buy in quantity. Maybe you only wanted 1 carton of something, but now they're saying, well, if you buy 2, we'll give you 1 free. But you're spending more money than you wanted to spend, and they're really not losing anything.
My dad used to, when they'd have the buy 1, get 1 free, which I know is different from what you're saying, but at the Publix, the people there at Publix got a kick out of my dad, and he'd go up to the counter and he says, and he'd just bring 1, and he'd say, I want the free one.
Or the half price one, because you only took 1.
Yeah. This is free because I got the free one.
Okay, I'm Lady MawMaw, Craig's built-in emergency brake. If this wasn't enough for you, sign up for the newsletter. It's free, it's thoughtful, and it occasionally makes sense.